Hey, good morning everybody, it's Mike. Thanks for jumping on with me today. Verticals. Verticals, have you heard people use this term, and what specifically do they mean by it, and how can it impact you and your business? Well, verticals are simply avenues of business that flow into you. I'd like to create a visual in your mind. Let's say, and if you do have a piece of paper and pen in front of you, do this little exercise with me. Draw a circle and then draw little roads like a roundabout, all feeding into the circle. And in the middle of the circle, write me. And verticals are just simply these roads that all flow into you. And in your real estate business, how many roads, verticals, layers do you have flowing into you? Well, most agents that I speak with would say, well, my sphere of influence, that's a vertical. Yeah, that's true. Past clients, Mike, past clients, that's a vertical. That's where most of my business comes from. And I would say for most, the overwhelming majority, over 95% of agents in this country are going to say sphere of influence and past clients. I'd say, no, that's valid. How about paid lead generation? Well, you know, Mike, I use Zillow or OpCity or Realtor.com, or there's just dozens and dozens of paid lead generation verticals. These I pay a fee either up front or as part of a referral fee. I get leads, they flow into me. That's a vertical. And those are all fine. No problem there. But what happens? What happens when there's a disruption in that space? Most times, a disruption that you couldn't have foreseen and have no control and influence over. What happens when that disruption? What happens when no one in your sphere of influence just happens to be moving right now? What about your past clients? What happens when they're just good? My wife and I bought a house 2 years ago. We're not looking to move right now. We're good. What happens when that paid lead generation source changes their business model? Did they call you up and consult with you on it? No, they just did. And then we like to demonize them, right? Well, let's take some examples here to see what we're talking about. How about Zillow? Oh, everybody's all pissed off at Zillow these days, right? Because it turns out they wanted to become a brokerage and they don't want to sell leads anymore. They want to generate leads and keep them for themselves. And they want to be out in the marketplace competing against you for listings and purchases. And people are so disgruntled with that because they lied to us. Yeah, of course they lied to you. Gosh, are we that hopelessly naive as an industry? What keeps them from having their business evolve? What, you think that because it worked well for you in the old way, that it ought to stay that way? Come on. Come on. Zillow has every right to change and morph their business. A lot of us just don't like it because we don't like the disruption. OpCity, Realtor.com, NAR sells Realtor.com to a third party, and that third party doesn't maybe care about you and me as much as NAR did. And we didn't like NAR that much, but now we really don't like the third party. Hey, you want the most recent example of this? Dave Ramsey and his ELP program. And just last week, apparently, I still haven't seen it directly from Dave Ramsey himself, but it's being reported through a number of different places that for some reason, he just doesn't like the EXP brand anymore. And for his referral program, he said that you can't be affiliated with EXP to receive referrals from his company anymore. And the people with the EXP are really bent out of shape about that because they think he's wrong and they think he's evil for doing this. And I think no statement here about EXP, no statement about Dave Ramsey. I just think this. Dave Ramsey has every right to do whatever he wants with his business model, whether he's right or wrong. If he's wrong, he'll pay the price for that. And if he's right, then that's what he should do. We don't like the disruption. Why? We don't have enough verticals. That's why. All our eggs are in one, maybe two baskets. All my eggs are in the sphere of influence basket, or my past clients, or Zillow, or Opcity, or Realtor.com, or Dave Ramsey's ELP program. And I'm getting a lot of business from there. That's a major vertical for me, flowing into me, and I don't want it disrupted. Yeah, but you don't have any control over it. And that's what really bugs us. We don't have any control over it, but it's an influencer on us. So what I say to you is this: well, not shame on Dave Ramsey or Zillow or Open Door or OfferPad or any of them. Shame on us. Shame on us for not continually building out our verticals so that we have a strong and diversified business. Sometimes we can be guilty, can't we, of being intellectually lazy. We find one area, it's a good flow of business for us, it's supplying me all that I really need or more for right now, and I stop. You know, I've told some of you this, and I'll be honest and transparent with you. I've been in Atlanta real estate for 34 years now, and when I look back on it, while you might say that I ended up doing really well, I still was there every day of it, and I look back and go, wow, what some big mistakes, and how costly were they? And you might say, well, Mike, you sold over 10,000 homes, and I would come right back at you and say, yeah, but I could have sold 15 to 20,000 homes in the same amount of time with pretty much the same amount of effort, and I didn't. Why? Disease of affluence. I got intellectually lazy. I stopped building out my verticals when they were right there in front of me. I could have. I just stopped. Why? Well, this one road, this one vertical flowing into me is enough. Yeah, things change. Things change, and they don't consult with us before they change, do they? You just wake up one day and go, well, that's not fair. That's not right. Hey, Dave Ramsey, folks, Dave Ramsey has every right to do with his business whatever the hell he wants to do with it, as long as it's legal and as long as it's not illegally discriminatory. Can he legally discriminate? Yeah, he can. He can say, hey, I don't like your company's colors. I don't want you on part of my program. He can legally do that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the way he can choose to run his business. Why are we ranting and raving about this? Why do we hate Zillow so much? Oh, we got a little dependent on that vertical, didn't we? And then they did what they have the right to do. Folks, here's what I want to talk to you about each morning at 8:30 this week. Building out all the different verticals. So jump on with me tomorrow morning. Today, what are they and why? And how do we need to think about this? And tomorrow, what are some different verticals that you could be adding to your business? And if you did, you'd sleep better at night. And when the disruptions come, which they will, they always do, you're going to shrug and say, well, that's disappointing, but I'm still good. And this is Mike helping you go out there and make it happen for yourself today.